Welcome back. Active Directory is the backbone of identity and access management in most enterprise environments. And in this lesson, we're going to build one together. We'll start by spinning up a Windows EC2 instance, promote it into a domain controller, and then walk through creating test users and groups so you can see AD in action. Don't worry if you're new to Active Directory. I'll take you step by step from the ground up. So by the end of this session, you'll have your own working AD environment ready to integrate with AWS Client VPN. And here's the exciting part. In the next lesson, we will connect this AD to AWS AD connector and bring authentication to life so you can see how users and groups actually control access through Client VPN. Here in my AWS console, I launch a Windows EC2 instance. I name the instance AD Server. I select the Windows operating system. I choose T3 medium. Smaller types struggle with Windows. I select a key pair. This is needed to decrypt the initial admin password. I pick a VPC that can reach the client VPN endpoint. In this case, we will use the same VPC as client VPN endpoint for simpler routing. I create a security group for the AD server. For this demo, I allow RDP from the internet. In production, keep access private over VPN or direct connect. For simplicity, I add to allow all traffic from within the VPC. Ideally, you add specific AD ports as per this AWS documentation. Here is the VPC CIDR 192.168.0.0/16. In production, restrict to required AD ports, and you can use the client VPN endpoint subnet addresses instead of the whole VPC CIDR. I connect to the instance. I choose Get Password. I paste the private key contents. I click Decrypt to view the password. I log in with those credentials. Time to promote the server to a domain controller. DC promo is legacy. I will use Server Manager instead. I open Server Manager. I select Add Roles and Features. I add Active Directory Domain Services. I also add DNS Server. I ignore the static IP warning. EC2 private IP stays fixed. I continue the wizard. AD supports HA and redundancy. Note the message shown. I open Active Directory users and computers. The red X indicates post-install tasks remain. The yellow triangle says I must promote to a domain controller. I click. Promote this server to a domain controller. I enter my domain name. I provide admin credentials if prompted. I realize I need a new forest. I select Add a new forest and enter the domain name. I set the directory services restore mode DSRM password. This is a special break glass password for DC recovery. I proceed with the wizard. The net BIOS name fills in automatically. I ignore the DNS and static IP warnings for this lab as will not affect the intended functionality. The server reboots. I log in again. I open Active Directory users and computers. The domain controller is ready. Under Users tab, I create users and groups. I create a tech group. I create a sales group. I create a user poll. I set a password and disable. User must change password at next logon for faster testing. I add poll to the sales group. I add a few more users, assign them tech and sales groups. Thank you for watching. In the next topic, we create AWS AD connector and integrate it with this new AD server.